All right, Karen, thanks so much for taking some time with me today. It's been a pleasure to work with you and the entire Mid-Penn community. It's just a great school, and we're really excited about this, I would say, very unique and innovative search and role, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But we'd love to begin by hearing a bit about your background and what drew you to Mid-Penn.
Okay, well, thanks. I'm super excited about the search as well. For my background, really started off as a history teacher. My area of expertise is medieval European history because apparently it was important to me to become a dinosaur by the time I was about 27 years old. But it's still my favorite. And I actually still miss teaching history. At some point, I want to figure out a way to get back to that a little bit. But I've been a head of school now for just about 15 years. Started out in Southern California and then went back east to Connecticut. And now I am back in California at Mid-Peninsula High School. And Mid-Penn is a school that I've known, I mean, since I was in high school in the Bay Area. And I had friends that went to Mid-Penn back in the 80s. And coming to Mid-Penn recently, so this is my fifth year as the head at Mid-Penn. One of the things that I've found really fantastic about this school is the way that we walk our talk. Um, I think everybody is talking about belonging these days, which is important, and I'm glad that everybody's talking about that. But when it comes to the way that we welcome and support students at Mid-Penn, it is a bit different than other places where I've been. Our school is one that is radically inclusive. And I use the word radically on purpose because we begin every day welcoming the kids into the school. We spend time with them every day. Their teachers in particular will turn themselves into pretzels to find a way in for every student. Many, if not most, of our students have some kind of a learning difference, and oftentimes have had a hard time in schools before because they weren't being served very well. Our learning support team is second to none, and they really do know all the best practices that they should be using with the students. And like I said before, the teachers themselves are the ones who really make this happen. And so it's pretty amazing to be at a place where everybody is not just welcome, but necessary. Every student that comes to our school is necessary for us. And we do whatever we have to do to make sure that they understand that they are ready to go, that we're going to support them, and that we're also going to challenge them at the same time. And I've never felt a clearer sense of purpose as a head of school since I've been at Mid-Penn. I
That
don't wake
is,
up every day
yeah.
chasing a college bumper sticker.
That is just so well said. And as you know, our team came to the school a little while ago, and I love those terms, radically inclusive and not just welcome, but necessary. It definitely was palpable. And you can see the faculty-student partnership just alive at the school,
Mm.
and that community fused into the program. So let's just talk about how this role, which I'm going to borrow some of your language. I'm going to say it's welcome, but also necessary for the school. It's going to be a great engine of idea and innovation, and that's really part of the title. But talk
Mhm.
about how you see that fitting into this community and the program that is in place already, and we're just kind of like how the value add is going to manifest itself for you and others around.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this position. It's definitely a new one for us. We already have a director of technology, and Anne Marie has done a fantastic job in terms of making sure that our partnership with our IT firm is in place. And she also teaches some classes in digital arts, and she's just a fantastic colleague. I think what we're looking forward to with this new position is somebody who can help us to, in some ways, get up to speed a little bit more in terms of what's happening right now. Certainly around AI, we're using it in pieces right now, but I'm really looking forward to somebody who's going to be able to actually bring all of us on the faculty together and start to help us envision what we actually want to do and need to do as the institution that we are. Different schools can make different choices. But right now, none of us really has the expertise to try to kind of suss this out. We have some people on the faculty, for example, who don't think that we should be using AI at all ever. I think they're probably in the minority, but we do have some folks that are very, very skeptical. On the other side, we've got people who are like playing with all sorts of things, and then most of us are somewhere in the middle in there. But what I'm looking forward to the most is somebody who can really lead us in thinking critically and being discerning about what we should do based on what our values are and based on what's happening in the world so that our students get what they need as well. And I'm looking forward to somebody who also really wants to teach. And we know, for example, that we'd love to have a design thinking course that we can launch next fall. Probably one other course too, depending on how this kind of shakes out. But somebody who also wants to be in relationship with kids. Definitely important to be in conversation and in relationship with colleagues, no question. But we need people who actually want to be with teenagers. And, teenagers need a lot of attention and a lot of love. And so somebody who actually enjoys that entire process.
Super. You've mentioned the kids a couple of times, and I want to go back to that statement you had made about, finding ways for every student, so that, what the faculty and the faculty do to really be, you use the term pretzel, but just, I think, really adapt to and serve the kids uniquely. I can imagine that, a design thinking course is one that is going to really speak to like letting the kids find their voice in design and innovation. Maybe it's fabrication, maker, creativity, could be coding, lots of different channels. Can you just talk about one or two examples that exist at Mid-Penn right now where you really see that living out, that ability to either design a course a little bit different from what you've seen in other schools, or how you've created a program to just be very uniquely adapting to the needs of your students?
Yeah, I think it's a great question because we're a very small school, 118 students this year. And at the same time, while that can be challenging, certainly, the financial piece of it is always challenging when you're that small. But what we also get to be is nimble. We can pivot and figure out something that we want to do kind of on the spot and just make it happen. There isn't a lot of red tape at our school. And so for somebody who wants to come in as a leader, who wants to try new things, this is a great place to do that kind of work. So, for example, when I think about the digital arts class that Anne Marie, our director of technology, teaches, she teaches two sections of this. It is, I think, at base, certainly an art class. So the students are creating things from scratch. The thing is that they're using different kinds of software to make what it is that they're doing. That's the digital arts piece, right? And this is a course that she came up with, and she's been honing it every year. We get a little bit more equipment every year, and she just keeps expanding it. And most importantly, she's able to work with these small groups of students because we're a small school, and that's deliberate. She's able to work with each student to really kind of tailor each project to every student. And also, she's got room in there to push them in ways individually that might not happen in a larger school or in a larger classroom. But one of the other things that's exciting about what's coming down the pike for us is that, we're starting our master plan process right now, and we are we're looking for the right architectural firm that can help us make the most out of our building. So right now we've got classroom space where somebody can teach a design thinking class, for example. That's I think probably very doable. But what we'd also like to do is figure out how to take a regular classroom and put more equipment in it. It's similar to what Anne Marie has been doing and make sure that we continue to build out as much as we possibly can within our campus so that students continue to have new opportunities to try new things and to learn new things. But again, this is going to take somebody who is creative in their own thinking, somebody who can look at like a blank classroom and actually see things in there that like I wouldn't be able to see and somebody who really wants to build out not just that kind of work or class work, but somebody who really wants to kind of turn that dial up to 11 for kids who are really ready for it and who really want more. And
That's
yes, that was a Spinal Tap reference.
Thank you.
I mean, of
What
course.
and I'm going to give my final question is a reference to your background in medieval history, if you will. I did, and just such a unique domain to have studied. So just, for folks to get a little bit more insight into you and your areas of passion, what was it about that area of study that spoke to you? And do you ever sort of, think apply some of those principles as a head of school, or how do you sort of connect the dots? But just for folks to get to know a bit about you, talk about that area of passion for a moment.
Yeah, so I think the short story on this is that I had the most phenomenal history teacher when I was in high school. I didn't love history until I got into her class. Her name is Donna Gilboa, and she taught a class, and this is when I was a student at Sacred Heart in Atherton, and she was the first history teacher I ever had who actually knew how to tell a good story. That was the best. And there was something about the Middle Ages in particular that did grab me. I think part of it is that it would, it depends on obviously like which specific time periods, but it was incredibly human. I think a lot of times in history, a lot of times people tend to idealize things, which we should never do. And she was great about, like showing us the underbelly of things, showing us how fallible humans are. And for whatever reasons, like that, the ways that she described that made me want to I just wanted to continue to do more. I just got bitten by the bug. So when I did my seminar paper, my master's thesis, when I was at Stanford in medieval history, I wrote my thesis on demons in the 12th and 13th centuries. And I've always had kind of this fascination with demons and demonic stuff, and especially in the Middle Ages, because that there was a time period in there um, where there wasn't a lot of talk about demons, like in the earlier times. So around like the 12th century, you don't really hear much about Satan or demons or anything like that. But then there was a conclave, and not a conclave. I'm sorry. It was the Fourth Lateran Council where they actually started to define evil, and a lot of that became personified. And so just one example from the paper that I wrote, I looked at the Lancelot Grail cycles as one strand in this. And so in the 12th century, when they were trying to get the Grail, when Lancelot was going for the Grail, there's maybe like one demon in there, but he wasn't even doing anything. It was like he looked like a slug, and he just kind of sat there and saw him looking for the Grail. In the 13th century one, because all of a sudden now evil had been defined, there were demons everywhere, like throwing things at Lancelot, trying to keep him away from the Grail. They were super active, right? And like right after that, and actually for the next couple of centuries too, there was a lot of, fear of, witches and warlocks and things like that too. And it all came out of the Fourth Lateran Council.
I
How's
love
that
it.
for obscure?
That is
It was so
outstanding.
cool.
So cool. And I'll just maybe end it on this. I hope we help you find somebody not in the demon category, but
Yeah.
as inspiring as your history teacher was, but in the lane of innovation and design, because this I really believe is a role made to order for Mid-Penn. It's just such an exciting role at a school that I think will truly receive somebody who is like, eager and hungry to bring some of these principles to the students, to their faculty. So we look
Yeah.
forward to working with you and the rest of the
Same.
search. Thank you so much for your time and appreciate this conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to this process.